It's the best segment every single week. We got your questions, my answers on the latest Ravens rumors, news items, anything you guys want to know. You ask me right here, I answer it as best as I can. This is all coming from our Tuesday live shows. If you guys aren't subscribed, go ahead and do that right now. Turn on those notifications so that whenever we go live, you've got us right here locked in, and you guys can come join us live. And also, you guys can ask these questions. Speaking of questions, I got one for you guys. Who did the Ravens play the first time you ever went to a game? And do you remember the score? You let me know in the comment section down below. I know we got some lifelong Ravens fans, so I'm excited to read these answers. Coming up first, we got Kyler Richards. Is there a possibility of still trading Mark Andrews, he asks. Yes, but it's at the deadline. I don't think you trade him before that. I think there's a 0% chance of trading him before the deadline. The only reason you would trade him before the deadline is if a team that is kind of in a weird tight end spot has an injury and they're screwed and they're just like, okay, we need a tight end as fast as we can. That I could see happening. But other than that, you're not going to trade him before the season. They made that abundantly clear. They had decent opportunities to do that before the draft. But I could see a situation where come deadline time, if there's a team that's willing to give you a little something more than you thought you could, or hell, is even just willing to give you something that you're asking, I could see them moving on from Mark Andrews. Jameer Castro with our next question. Will Lamar be top 3 in passing yards and Derrick Henry be top 3 in rushing yards? Well, if y'all didn't know, they were top 3 in both of those categories. I'm going to say yes, but just for one of them. I don't know who it's going to be, but I think one of them will be top 3 in one of those categories. It's going to be hard to replicate the same success that they had last year. They were unbelievable. They were so fun to watch. But, last year was insane. So, I would love it. It's going to be hard to do, though. Next up, we got Christian Coveney. Do you think David Ojabo will stay, and do you want him to? Well, it's not really David Ojabo's decision. Basically, you might be asking, do you think the Ravens will cut or trade David Ojabo? I wouldn't be surprised if they did either of those things. I would not at all. I actually would probably prefer if they did it. I've seen enough from David Ojabo. I'm convinced he's not going to be everything that this team thought he was going to be when they drafted him in the second round, coming off of that awful Achilles tear. They took a risk, and it didn't pan out. So if you can get something for him or trade, do it. If you can cut him and save some money, I wouldn't be mad if they did that either. But I would be very surprised if you made the 53-man roster. Let me just tell you that. Up next from Stevie's Wonder. Should the hashtag Ravens trade for Jalen Ramsey? Great question. At the current recording of this video, he is holding out mandatory minicamp. Not really a big surprise there. I guess it's not even like a holdout if they're kind of trying to trade him as well. He's not there. That's all I'm trying to say. I don't think so. It's one of those things that if they did it, I wouldn't be mad about it. I'd love the look of, they're trying to go all in. They're trying to win now. They realize that this is their Super Bowl window and that Jalen Ramsey is only going to help them do that. But also for what you'd have to give up and then also what you'd have to pay him, $21 million in 2025. Baltimore just doesn't necessarily have the funds right now. Now they can create them, but it would take a lot of work, and I just don't know if I'm all there for it. Now, signing a quarterback in free agency like a Jaire Alexander, I'd be a little more interested. Make the call for me. Should the Ravens trade for Jalen Ramsey? If you think they should, go ahead, give me a yes in the comment section down below. And if you think they shouldn't, give me your answer by telling me no. Papa Shook is up next. With all our weapons, do you think we'll be run heavy, pass heavy, or somewhere in the middle? I think run heavy, just because I know they got so many insane pass catchers with Likely, Andrews, Flowers, Hopkins, Bateman. I get that. But also, the identity of a Baltimore Ravens team is to beat you in the run first. And you have the best rushing quarterback in the history of the game. And maybe a top 7 running back in the history of the game with Derrick Henry. He's kind of starting to get into that stratosphere now. And so it's going to rely on the run first and foremost. I think it'll be somewhere in the middle balance-wise of like the number of plays that they call towards that certain thing. But you'll find more games where they pass 17 times only than they rush 17 times only, if that makes sense. Coming up next, we got Nathan McShane, who could be comeback player in 2025. This is a great question, Nathan. Thank you so much for it. I got two that come to mind. Trenton Simpson is one of them. He's a guy who didn't play a single snap in either of the playoff games. He got benched at the end of the year. And he's taken that in stride. He's had a really great attitude about it. He's been powering through it. But I think he can come back much stronger. Another one's Nnamdi Madubuike. He took a massive step back from 2023 to 2024. And I think it's time for him to take another little step forward. I think getting better on the edge, Odafe Oweh bulking up, adding Mike Green, I think that's going to help that, okay? So Nnamdi Madubuike and Trenton Simpson, those are my two answers. Jameer Castro is next. Should the Ravens be one of the top teams interested in Jaire Alexander? I think they should. And at the current recording of this video, he has not been signed anywhere. If Baltimore really, really is serious about competing for a Super Bowl, I think they at least need to be in contact and at least need to, be serious about him. I'm not in love with this cornerback room right now. If I'm being candid with you. It's fine. But it doesn't scream to me the cornerback room of a Super Bowl winning team. I think there's a lot of holes on it. I don't think there's a ton of depth on it. Jaire Alexander, I think, would be a really, really great piece. I know he's got injury concerns. I think that's going to lower his price a little bit. And if it's something cheap, I think Baltimore should do it. Speaking of cheap things, guess what? $15 off this Ravens purple t-shirt. All you got to do is go to chatsports.com/purple t-shirt. It'll take you to the link to be able to purchase it. It was $35. Now it is only $20. These deals don't come often. They don't last long. So take advantage of it right now as quickly as you can. Chatsports.com/purple t-shirt. That link's going to be in the comments and description of today's video. You got to head there now before they're gone. Head there now before that deal is over because, again, only $20. Chatsports.com/purple t-shirt. Robert is up next, or at least that's how I think it would be. The ERT is upside down, which I don't even know how you do that. Pretty cool, though. Hashtag Ravens, do you think Tavius Robinson will start? What do you think his stats will be? I don't think he'll start. This edge rusher group is just too potent at the moment. But I do think he's going to take a massive step back. And I do think, let's look at his stats last year, because I don't know them off the top of my head. Excuse me for that. But last season, 13 tackles, 3.5 sacks. I think both of those numbers could I think the tackles could, that's solo tackles, sorry. I think the tackle numbers could double, and I think that the sack number can go up to 5. That's my guess for Tavius Robinson. I'm going to say somewhere around 40 tackles, 5 sacks. Book it. Jacko is next. Hashtag Ravens. What will LJ8's contract extension look like in terms of length, cap hit, total money? Jack, can you do me a favor? Go to List 5 Logos, and you can find contract details. I think it's going to look exactly like Josh Allen's contract, okay? He just signed his extension sometime in the middle of March, and it looks like this. 6 years, $330 million, $55 million, $250 million guaranteed. That's, I think, exactly what it's going to look like. I think it's going to be the same amount of years. I think the total average guaranteed might just be a little bit of a tick up because he's going to want to be that highest paid quarterback, and I think he deserves to be it. Next up from John Boshears, looking great in his profile picture with his Bucks tie. I actually think I might have been there when John took this photo. Good buddy from college. Said hashtag Ravens, what's the ceiling and floor for this team? John, fun fact, everybody, John actually married Kennedy and I. He was our officiant at our wedding. Anyway, ceiling and floor. Ceiling, let's be real. I know this is going to sound crazy. This team can win every game they play. So I think because of that, the ceiling is undefeated. Floor, and I'm going to take floor at like floor with Lamar Jackson because I'm not going to say floor if Lamar Jackson gets hurt because I don't want to wish that into the atmosphere. I'm going to say like the floor of this team is 8 wins. Yeah, that's what I think floor. They're going to end up somewhere in the middle. I think they're going to end up somewhere from 12 to 13 wins. But great question. Moggs, hashtag Ravens. I think our tough schedule is a blessing in disguise. How important do you think it is that we get a hot start to a season with such a challenging schedule? That's a great way to look at it. I think if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. And if you are not preparing to beat the best until you get to the playoffs, like that's going to end up biting you in the butt. Think about the Cowboys a couple of years ago when they lost to the Green Bay Packers. All everybody talked about that year was that schedule was cupcake. They didn't play anybody. They didn't beat anybody. And it was true. And then they played the Packers the first round of the playoffs, and they got smoked. I don't want that to happen to Baltimore this year. So I'm happy about the tough schedule. And more fun games for me. Christian Coveney, hashtag Ravens. How do you feel about Malachi Starks at safety? And do you think that will allow Kyle Hamilton to be more free on the field? So I don't think as much because of the injury to our Darius Washington. But I'm really excited to see Malachi Starks at safety. I think he's going to be wonderful. I think he was a great first-round pick. At that point in the draft, he would have been my first-round selection. And so I think Malachi Starks is going to have a long, great career with the Baltimore Ravens. Coming up last, we got Jack Harbaugh asking a question. What's up, Pops? Which UDFA will make the Ravens roster? Great question. So Ruben Lowry had a really great couple days at mandatory minicamp. That's a name to keep an eye on. Cornerback was at Tennessee Chattanooga, UTC. Another name to keep an eye on, Chandler Martin, linebacker with Memphis. He was a tackle machine. He's an athletic freak. And there's a lot of room to be made on that linebacker depth chart. So if he comes out, he comes to play, he plays really, really well through some of these practices. I wouldn't be surprised if he somehow chipped his way to make that roster. You predicted for me in the comment section which UDFA will make the Ravens roster. Let me know by getting down there and shouting him out. And while you're down there, go ahead and make sure you click on those links to my social media. At Joey Petersen 8 is where you can find me on Instagram and on Twitter. And make sure you subscribe to the channel.